recap what we did last time? Anything? Okay. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by a desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny. So here we talked about the section where we said demigod worship is unnecessary, right? So if we are not worshipping demigods, so now comes whom should we worship? So here it talks about worshipping Vasudeva is topmost, right? And I'm just going to read the verse. We won't repeat it because of lack of time. Let me just do this. Okay. Vasudeve para Veda, Sudeva para Makhaha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriyaha, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva paro Dharmo, Vasudeva paragatihi. Very, very beautiful two verses talking about Vasudeva Paraveda, the ultimate goal given in the Vedas. So all the Vedas reveal the ultimate goal as Vasudeva. And who is Vasudeva? Who is Vasudeva?
Krishna.
Yes, but when we say Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva.
Vasudeva.
Right? So who is Vasudeva? Son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Paramukha. He is the Lord of all sacrifices. Makha means sacrifices. And anyone remembers a verse from Bhagavad Gita about sacrifices? How Vasudeva is how Krishna or Vishnu is the enjoyer of sacrifices. Okay, if I start the verse, maybe someone will know.
Yagnarthat karmano. I'm forgetting. Yatra.
Lokoyam karma
Lokoyam
karma
bandhanaha
bandhanaha tadartam karma
karma
kanteya
kanteya
sada
mukta sangha samachara.
Mukta Sangha Samachara. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra. So whom are we worshipping? Yajna, that is Vishnu. Vasudeva para yoga, meaning that means of attaining yoga, the means of attaining anything is Vasudeva para kriya. All the fruitive activities under his control. Whatever your karma you have to give, he is granting you everything is under his control. Vasudeva param jnanam. He is the topmost knowledge, supreme knowledge. Vasudeva param tapaha, best of all austerities. Vasudeva para dharma, superior quality dharma. Vasudeva para gatihi, is the ultimate goal of life. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life. Yes, so that is what Vasudeva is. So now, Vasudevam Sarvamati Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Yes, anyone remembers this full verse, 7.19?
Bahunam janmanamante jnanavamam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha.
Fantastic. That was fantastic. So Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Right? After many, there are many Mahatmas, yogis, jnanis, karmis, they are all good. But if they do not approach the ultimate goal of life, Vasudev, then what did we learn in 1.2, in the beginning of this chapter, 1.2.8? Shrama evahi kevalam. Yes, dharma swanishtita pumsam vishvaksena kathasuya notpade dyadirate shrama evahi kevalam. If it does not bring rati in you, attachment to Krishna, to Vasudeva in you, then it is useless labor. Right? You can execute your religious principles. You can have dharma, dana, tapa. You can execute severe austerities, penances. You can give charity. But if you do not approach Vasudeva, then the Shastra says, Shrama evahi kevalam. So in the Narad Pancharatra it says, Yadi harish tapasa tathakim. If you have worshipped Hari, then you don't need tapas. Why? Why do you need tapas? So you approach Vasudeva, you approach Hari, you approach Narayan, Krishna, Vishnu, Ram, Narsimha, Varaha, whatever. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Yeah, Vasudeva has Anantarupam. This is described in in Brahma Samhita, right? You can, if you want, you can just sit down by the river, by the Ganga. But can you count how many waves are there? Can you count how many waves keep coming in an ocean if you sit by the beach? So just like that, you can't count how many forms Krishna has. Right? So the absolute truth is Advaita. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattva jnanam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. So what does Advayam mean? Non-dual, which means all these, whether it is Brahman, whether it is Paramatma, whether it is Bhagavan, they are the forms of the same person, but different realizations. So therefore, all the Kriya which is done, Vasudeva Para Kriya, should be done in Varnashram Dharma. What is your Dharma? Varnashram. Varnas and Ashramas. So nowadays they all say Hindu Dharma. There's nothing called Hindu Dharma. You will find no Shastra saying Hindu Dharma. This was a word given to us by the Muslims. On the other side of Sindhu, so therefore Hindu. We are all part of Sanatan Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, right? So we have to understand that Vasudeva means he is the goal of everything. He is the means of everything. Yoga is meant to reach him, and he is the ultimate goal, right? Let's go to the next. I'm just sharing you again. If there are any questions, we'll take it to the end. Okay. Sa evedam sasar jagre Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Sad asad rupaya chaso Gunamaya guno vibhu. Translation. In the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. Right? In the beginning of, where did that go? Yeah. in the beginning of material creation. So everything, sarva karana karanam, everything is created by the Lord. He is the cause of everything. So here is the information of creation, right? So this creation, we must be very sure about is, it's from a person. It's not from any impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Creation needs brains. Otherwise, there's no question of creation, right? We are a part and parcel of Krishna. We also have creative power. So there is no question of creative power if you don't have a brain. And if there is a brain, that means there has to be a person. So therefore, considering that even Krishna is not a person, he's just impersonal and he's just done creation, is rubbish. You can't create from a void or impersonal thing. So this creation, this cosmic manifestation is possible by creative power. So therefore, what is the conclusion? That God cannot be impersonal. And when this creation, when before it creation was there, he existed. After creation, after dissolution also, he will be there. He will be there before also, he will be there after also. He will remain. So therefore, Krishna is not one of those created or material created things. So who's the staunchest impersonalist? Shankaracharya. What did he say? He says that Narayana para avyaktat, vyakta avyakta. So this Mahatattva from which this material cosmic manifestation is there, it's Narayana para. Shankaracharya himself has given this. Narayana para, above Narayana. That means it's above creation. Narayana or Krishna is not a product of this creation. Just like our existence, we are all one of the products of creation. But is Narayana a product of creation? No, of course not. He's not one of the products of material creation. So Mayavadi philosophers, they think, what do they think? That Krishna is God, but he has accepted a material body. That is Mayavadi philosophy. But how can Krishna accept a material body? Before he existed, what? He didn't have a body? Of course he had a body, right? And that was completely spiritual. So he just appears in the material world in his spiritual body. He has multiple energies. There's so many energies, right? He's completely spiritual. He's complete spirit. So all his energy is also spiritual. There is no difference between him and his Shakti. Shakti, Shaktimator, Abhedaha. Shakti and the person who possesses the Shakti are Abhedaha, non-different. There's no distinction between the powerful and the power. Krishna is the powerful and he has the power. So Shakti, Shaktimator, Abhedaha. So Bhagwan created, so here it is said that Sa Evedam Sasar Jagre Bhagwan Atma Mayaya. Bhagwan created by his energy. It is not that Bhagwan is finished after creation. The Mayavad philosophy is that everything is God. There's no separate existence of God. That's impersonalism. But here it is Bhagwan Atma Mayaya. He created this cosmic manifestation by his energy. So Ishopanishad, the first verse, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avishyate. First verse, right? So he is complete. He will be complete. And even after him, even whatever he has created will also be complete. It's not that because he is created, he will become incomplete or half. He is Purnasya, he is Purnam, Adaya, Purnam Eva Vavishyate. He's full energy. Even if that energy is taken away from it, given to his expansion, that expansion is also full. So even if he's creating this material world, it is full in itself. It doesn't lack anything. So Maya is also energy. So there are two energies, right? Material and spiritual. Material is asat, spiritual is sat. So asat means one which is temporary, does not exist permanently. Asat. Sat means eternal. Asat means temporary. Right? So Sat Chid Anand, that's Sat. Not Sat as in Satya, the truth, not that. So this spiritual world or Sanatan, Sa Evedam Sasar Jagre, Bhagwan Atmamaya, Sad Asad Rupaya Chaso, Guna Maya Guno Vibhu. What is, he's Vibhu, right? Vibhu. Vibhu, he is Vibhu and we are?
Anu.
Anu. Right, that's the difference. He is unlimited, we are limited. He is big, we are small, tiny. So we cannot be equal to Krishna. So again, Mayavad philosophy that there is no difference between Jiva and Bhagwan is rubbish. He is Vibhu, we are Anu. Yeah, he is great. He's the greatest of the greatest. And he can also be the smallest of the smallest. So Krishna cannot be equal, or nobody can be equal to Krishna. Just because he becomes tiny, that doesn't mean that we are greater than him. No way. Okay, so in Chaitanya Charitamrit, what is the verse? It says, Ekale Ishwar Krishna Ar Sab Bhritya. That is, there is only one Supreme Master, only one Ishwar, which is Krishna. Everyone else is Ar Sab Bhritya. We are all subservient, we are all servants. There's only one Ishwar, there's only one controller. Lord Shiva is also subordinate to Krishna. They also offer obeisances. Shiva Virinchi Nutam in Brahma Samhita. Also, it's confirmed by Brahma. Ishwara Parama Krishna. Right? So everyone can be Ishwar, controller. We are all controllers of something, but we cannot be supreme controller. Yeah. Sorry, today I am getting so many calls. Okay, let's move on to 31. Where is the screen? Oh, here it is. Yeah, got it. Can you all see it? Taya vilasiteshveshu guneshu gunavaniva anta pravishta abhati vijnanena vijrimbhitaha. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudev expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Mahavishnu entering into as Garbhodakshai, right? Into the Garbha. So even though he appears to be one of the created beings, he's always transcendental. Right? The living entities, jivas are parts and separated parts and parcels of the Lord, but he is Vishnu Tattva. So even when Krishna expands into so many expansions, it's not that they don't have the same qualities of Krishna. They still have 60 qualities, all the Vishnu Tattvas. And then Garbhodakshai Vishnu expands further and enters each jiva as Paramatma, Kshirodakshai. As Paramatma, an eternal friend of the living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witness to all activities. So what he's talking about? A little bit of creation over here. So what is the two functions of the Paramatma? One is the witness. He's the witness. And the second function is? Anyone?
Sanctions. He sanctions.
Sanctions. Yes. So that is the difference between the super soul and conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is controlled by the laws of nature, but is Paramatma, and the Paramatma is the controller. Who's controlling the jiva? Right? So here we're talking about Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya and Kshirodakshaya. Yatha hyavahito vahnir daru shva eka svayonishu nane vabhati vishvatma bhuteshu cha tatha puman. The Lord as Super Soul pervades all things just as fire permeates wood, and so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second. So Lord Vasudev, by one of his plenary parts, expands himself all over the material world, and his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. What are we talking about here? Which feature of the Lord? Which feature? Come on, Mataji.
Paramatma feature.
Paramatma means which Vishnu?
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Yes. So he permeates into everything, even each atom. So the Lord is present into every jiva. Yeah. So as from wood fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like Upanishads and Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam is the bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. So what is the giveaway here? The Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of hearing and chanting. The Lord can be realized through oral reception. And that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. So that's why all the acharyas say, you can see the Lord through your ears, not through your eyes. You can experience only through oral reception. That's why Shravanam comes first. Even when you're chanting, you should make sure you're hearing. So only when you concentrate. What is mantra meditation? You're concentrating on the holy names through your voice. That voice, that name should enter your ears. Focus on all the 16 names. Yes? So you must kindle that fire in your heart. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with receptive ears only. And thus, divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process. A human being can hear properly, whereas animals cannot. A dog can sit in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, it's not going to understand. It's of course accumulating Sukriti, not going to understand. Asau gunamayer bhaver bhuta sukshmendriyatmabhihi swanirmiteshu nirvishto bhute bhuteshu tadgunan. Okay, can someone read this? I'll just get some water.
The super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind. Purport: there are 84 lakh species of living beings, beginning from the highest intellectual being Brahma down to the insignificant ant, and all of them are enjoying the material world according to desires of the subtle mind and gross material body. The gross material body is based on the conditions of the subtle mind and the senses are created according to the desires of the living being. The Lord, as Paramatma, helps the living being to get material happiness because the living being is helpless in all respects in obtaining what he desires. He proposes and the Lord disposes. In another sense, the living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are therefore one with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, the living beings in all varieties of bodies have been claimed by the Lord as his sons. The sufferings and enjoyments of the sons are indirectly the sufferings and enjoyments of the father. Still, the father is not in any way affected directly by the suffering and enjoyment of the sons. He is so kind that he constantly remains with the living being as Paramatma and always tries to convert the living being towards the real happiness.
Yes, very, very important. So this part is important to note. Now the Lord as Paramatma, when you turn towards him, when you start doing spiritual activities, your karma becomes Krishna karma, which means what? That Krishna takes over and then he awards what you need for spiritual growth. You may want a lot of material, but the Lord might dispose it. Maybe because that will take you away from your path in spirituality. So this Lord, he proposes, the Lord disposes, means that you may want a certain thing, but the Lord has his own plan for you. You must go with that plan. Secondly, always tries to convert the living being towards real happiness. He will always give you opportunities to progress spiritually because he wants each one of us back home with him. Just like when Gopakumar entered the gates, he went running. He went running and said, I've been waiting for you. Why did you take so long? And also it is written in another scripture that when we were leaving the spiritual world, he came right till the gate saying, don't go. But we said, no, we want to enjoy. We said, no, we are going. And we left. But he still will always be, he constantly remains with the living being. Even those people who are atheists, who don't believe in the existence of God, even they have Paramatma in them. Isn't it? Why? Because he loves everyone. 31. Bhavayatyesha satvena lokan vai lok bhavanaha leelavatara nurato devatiryan naradishu. Thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by devatas, men and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of goodness. Very, very important. Please make note. He performs pastimes to reclaim. He doesn't come here to show off his strength or his past. He's coming so that you get attracted and he can reclaim you. There are innumerable material universes coming out of Mahavishnu, Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Let's forget that. And let's concentrate on this, our universe. There are so many planets, right? 14 planets is not a small. And in those planets, there are 4 varshas. As is Bharat Varsha, then is Kim Purusha Varsha, and the Leela Vrata, the 4 sides of the Parvat. And there are different lokas, right? In Bhuloka itself. In every of these places, in each and every part of the universe, the Lord resides as an avatar. There is not a single planet in which he is not present. In our Bharatvarsha, he resides as Narayan. Kim Purusha Varsha, he resides as Lord Ram. In Satyaloka, he is as Sahasra Vishnu. Every planet in Swargaloka, he is there as Vaman Dev. Even in the lower planets, he hasn't forgotten anyone. Each planet, he is the presiding deity of that planet. And then we also learned last time about how each yuga there are incarnations, each manvantara, each guna. So it's there, and there are so many innumerable Leela avatars. So why does he come? To reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. How can we reach mode of pure goodness? By following instructions of our acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada. It's very easy to go to pure goodness from goodness. So we at least have to come to Sattva Guna, which leads us to the 4 regulator principles. Right? I'm not going to go through this because it's the same thing. I just want to say about this part. The Lord therefore comes to propagate the message of the kingdom of God, either personally as an incarnation or through his bona fide representative as the good Son of God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came himself along with his associates. And then after that, we have the 6 Goswamis, we have the other Goswamis, we have Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit, Srinivasa Acharya, then we have Vishwanath Chakravarti, then we have Baladev Vidyabhushan, then we have all the Acharyas, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, and then of course our Srila Prabhupada, and now we have so many of the Gurus. So such incarnations or sons of God are not making propaganda for going back to Godhead only within the human society. Their work is also going on in all types of societies, amongst devatas and those other than human beings. That's how munificent. So thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 1st canto, 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Divinity and Divine Service. So we finally finished the 2nd chapter, which I wanted to do today so that we can start 3rd chapter. It's been long due. So what is the crux of it? So the last section shows us that it is very important to approach Vasudeva. Right? Any questions? Also gives us the last 2 sections is about why Devata worship is not necessary and not important, but Vasudeva, worshipping Lord, is very important. Okay, that's good. Any questions? No questions. Very good. Anjali, you seem confused.
So I have yet to again read all this to be more clear.
Yeah,
Because-
it's actually it's the same repetition, because why they're talking about this is because we're going to start the Leela avatars. So these are the 3 Purusha avatars again. Creation always starts with the 3 Purusha avatars. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Neha, you're only smiling.
No, Manaji, actually, you know what? My reception is actually a little off. So I can't see anybody. I can only see Anjali and myself on the screen. Now I got everybody's photo. But yes, we need to revise. And then, you know what? That is very, very important.
Anu, you are muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, absolutely. So this is basically what is the last section, especially the last 30 to 33 is the answer to the fourth question, which is what are the Purushavatars? Who are the Purushavatars? So it is just a gist of it that Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay, Dakshay. So, so that's it. What is the function of the Paramatma? Like Neha said, one is the sanction, the second is the witness. And this you must have learned even in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Vaiji, Anu, if no questions, then you can give your comment or realization, which is important. There should be some takeaway, something which you're holding on to at least from this class.
It was
Yes, I
very
think
good.
Take
I
away,
won't be
take away.
able to actually summarize the nectar
No,
we've got.
summarize, one
I don't know.
takeaway. One
Yeah,
takeaway.
takeaway also, I think so many takeaways.
Okay, one.
So beautiful. My intelligence is very small to actually really, I mean, weave in words. I won't be able to do that.
Okay, Vinu. Muted.
Like you said, Mataji, Acharya says that we can't see Lord through our eyes. We can see Lord through our ears only. So we need to chant loudly so that we can
Hear yourself.
Yeah. Hear yourself. This is-
Correct. Not only that, you must hear the glories of the Lord also. Hearing classes, hearing the Bhagavatam, all that also. Yeah, so that's how you can see the Lord.
But Mataji, when we say कि वासुदेव सुप्रीम है, जो वासुदेव के पुत्र हैं, लेकिन वो तो 5000 ईयर पहले ही आए थे ना. उससे पहले किसको हम पूजा करते थे? मतलब who was the supreme at that time?
It was always Krishna. It was always Krishna. It is just that he comes again and again to give us that, to like it was said, to reclaim. It was always Krishna. But when he came as Krishna in the material world, nobody believed it was him. I mean, the atheists didn't believe it was him. Everyone else knew. Kunti Mata knew. Bhishma Pita knew. Arjun knew. Pandavas knew. Everyone knew. Garg Muni knew. But Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, even though they knew, they never believed it because their relationship with Krishna was not in awe and reverence. They never thought that Krishna was God. ये तो हमारा लाला है. That's all. Yashoda Nandan is Yashoda's lala, who sometimes is blessed by Vishnu and then he gets the powers. Sometimes. But
Yeah.
if she did not do all those kavat prayers and nazar utarna, तो Krishna तो पता नहीं क्या होता. इतना तो he's so weak, he's so timid, he's so tender, he's so slender. खाना भी ठीक से नहीं खाता. So according to Yashoda and Nanda, you go and try to Yashoda. You know when Yashoda Maya tied the Damodar Leela, tied Krishna.
Only two.
Balram went to her and said, "You do you even know? Do you even know who he is? He's the Lord. He's the Lord." He said, "Acha." Yashoda said, "Acha. Acha, theek hai. He's the Lord. Who are you?" I am Balaram. I am also the Lord. What did Yashoda say? हाँ, सारे देवता मेरे घर में आना है ना. सारे देवता मेरे घर में पैदा हुए हैं, चल निकल यहाँ से, otherwise I'll beat you and tie you up also. Will she believe? She didn't. Because why? That is Madhurya Bhav. That is Vatsalya, but sweetness. There is no awe and reverence. There's no Aishwarya Bhav here. There's sweetness, Madhurya Bhav. So everybody knew, always worshipped Krishna. Krishna is eternal. In the Bhagavad Gita, what does he say? I first gave this knowledge to Vivaswan. Gave to his son. Then to Ikshvaku. Then it was lost somewhere down the line. Hai na? So Vivaswan is who? Sun God, who came in the beginning of time. Krishna is supreme, always worshipped. So it's not that he came only 5,000 years ago. He comes as himself. That was his scheduled pastime. So you might ask, Acha, to fir, were there temples in Vrindavan? Were Yashoda and Nand Maharaj worshipping any deity? Yeah, of course. Because Dwapar Yuga mein what is this thing? Yagya. What is the dharma? Like Kali Yuga is Sankirtan Yagya. Dwapar is
Yeah.
Is it deity worship or
Deity
deity
worship.
Yeah. Elaborate deity worship. So whom were they worshipping?
Indra and
No. They were worshipping Vishnu.
Vishnu or Narayan.
They would offer bhoga and then only Krishna would eat. And this is mentioned in Rupa Goswami's books of how Yashoda and Rohini would call Balram and Krishna and say, come, bhoga, we've already offered it, your father is waiting. That's how the bhoga arti is also written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which mentions all the dishes in detail. But in the book, in the Leela, he's saying already offered. Every day in the morning, they would wake up at Brahma Muhurta and they would go and do elaborate deity worship. Bhoga would be offered. And then they would worship the cows. Then they would eat. There were temples, huge temples. Lord Ram, he worshipped, had huge temples, which is the Sri Rangam temple. Veggie, you've been to Sri Rangam?
Yes, I've been to Sri Rangam. Ranganadhar.
Ranganadhar. So what is the history of Ranganadhar? Ranganadhar was installed by Lord Brahma, worshipped by Lord Ram, given as a gift to Vibhishan. But Ranganadhar would not cross the ocean. So he stayed in Sri Rangam. Who was worshipping Ranganadhar before that? In the Treta Yuga, Lord Ram was worshipping Ranganadhar. So elaborate deity worship was always present and they were always worshipping Lord Vishnu. Right? But after Krishna came as himself in this yuga, then deity worship for Krishna started. Why? Because that's the scheduled incarnation. That's why. Yep.
Yeah, Mataji, you had in the previous classes, you had mentioned, about the yugas. So,
Yes.
5,000 साल पहले केवल कृष्ण आए तो उसके पहले क्या था is like 5,000 साल पहले is very recent. He reappears. Yuga. Yuga, he comes again and again. So 5,000 years is like nothing. It is so recent. And he has come again, Krishnastu Bhagavad Swayam, and you had nicely explained in the previous few classes back about the lifespan of Brahma. It's like trillion years, 311 trillion years. Or he is only talking about Brahma Samhita and Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So कृष्णा की पूजा कब से हो रही है? ये तो
कब से हो
कलयुग
रही
केवल 5000 साल पहले आया. What about Dwapar, Treta, Satyug, and yugs before that?
So
That's how
many
we
Divya yugas have passed. So many
Yeah.
Divya yugas. And then so many billions of years have also passed because, like I said, we were in the midday, noon time, lunchtime of Lord Brahma. So, okay, tell me before that. Before material world, was Krishna worshipped? Before the creation of the material world. Before Garbhodakshai, and then Brahma was born. And then Brahma created. Before that, was Krishna worshipped? Come on, Matajis, rack your brains. Let's become a little more Krishna conscious.
When we all
Yes.
part of Krishna then, so yes,
Ah.
it is like part and
Because he
parcel.
was
So I
always there.
Eternally Krishna is worshipped.
Hmm.
That should be your answer. The moment someone asks you, eternally Krishna is worshipped because the spiritual world is eternal. There is no time factor. Can you put a dot to it and say so many years? No. There is no time factor. Eternity is no time factor. Eternally Krishna is worshipped. Eternally is Krishna's supreme personality of Godhead. There is no dispute about that. That's why Srila Prabhupada again and again and again says, the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Someone asked me, why do you ISKCON people put the supreme? Just say Sri Krishna. I said, yeah, but then you won't believe he's supreme personality of Godhead. Supreme is one. Personality destroys impersonalism. Of Godhead, meaning he's the fountain, the God, head of all incarnations. Vishnu comes from him. Krishna doesn't come from Vishnu. So it is important. Why so many times, every time Srila Prabhupada puts the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is worshipped eternally. We've forgotten. Do you think Srimati Radhika will ever forget? Do you think Yashoda has even forgotten him for a second? She'll leave her body. Even though her body is spiritual, she'll leave it. No one can forget Krishna. We also have only forgotten because of the cover of Maya. So reignite, rekindle that fire, and let's from this to next Kartik. There should be some tangible transformation in all of you. You should have a goal. 12 months is not a long time, it's a very short time. Have a goal, have a spiritual goal. By next Kartik, what do you want in spirituality? You must achieve it. Who's there to help you? Vishaka Mataji is there to help you. What else do you need? So get on with it. Yeah? Anything else, Matajis? So all of you joined late, so you can't blame me for finishing late.
We are
Nobody's
happy if you
complaining.
continue. Yeah.
Nobody is complaining and they don't even want to leave. आपको धक्के मारना पड़ेगा, जाओ.
I've overshot half an hour. You all came half an hour late, so it's not my fault. You can't blame me.
माता जी एक क्वेरी और है मेरी. ये जो भीष्म पंचक है 5 days जो हम मानते हैं कि भीष्म पितामह डेड बेड पे थे और उन्होंने वही टाइम है ना भीष्म पंचक?
Actually, I have a different this thing.
I'm
Because
saying
he left his body in January. और
Yes.
ये आता है कार्तिक के 5.
Kartik.
So there is a little bit of confusion, which I feel. Bhishma Panchak actually comes from the word Bhishma. What is the meaning of Bhishma? Anyone? Many
Big,
people.
bada.
Big.
Yes.
No,
Big
it is
or
stern or
intense.
strict. Yeah, intense.
Intense. Panchak. Panchak, 5 days.
5 days.
So Bhishma Panchak Vrat actually means that you're doing an intense Vrat for 5 days. Now, I am not of the conclusion that it was anything linked to Bhishma Pitama, who was on the bed of arrows on his last 5 days, because he passed away during Shankranti time, which is like another 2 months away. So there is a little bit of an overlap and a confusion over a period of years. And I did try to read about it. So if you ask me, I am of the opinion, yes, the last 5 days, Bhishma Pitama gave lot of instructions to Yudhishthir and the Pandavas, and Krishna was there and everything. Yes, fine. No doubts about that. But I do not believe that these are the last 5 days where Bhishma Pitama was on the arrow. Bhishma Panchak talks about a very intense vrata of the last 5 days of Kartik, where you use 5, 1 day is just milk, and 1 day is just yogurt, and 1 day is just cow urine, and 1 day is just cow dung, and 1 day is, what's the 5th one? Butter. Ghee. So don't, please ask some other senior, because this is my opinion. And
because 4th को जो गीता जयंती है तब गीता स्टार्ट हुई थी, तो कैसे वो पहले मर सकते हैं ना?
Exactly. And he actually passes away after that in Shankranti.
Right.
Shankranti ke waqt na, when does he pass away? From Dakshinayan, it becomes Uttarayan. Uttarayan only starts in Shankranti. Shankranti mein hi Uttarayan shuru hota hai. He waits for Uttarayan before he leaves his body. So in Dakshin, this is all, Kartik is Dakshinayan.
Dakshinayan.
So Bhishma Panchak Vrat is an intense 5 days vrat at the 5 days of Kartik. But please ask some other senior, because maybe there is some other explanation. But as far as my research goes, there is a blend of 2 different pastimes.
Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Yeah, a lot of people ask. In fact, I also had this doubt, and I did my own research. So I don't talk too much about it, because there's never any, what do you call, disadvantage in hearing the glories of Bhishma Pitama. You can hear it any number of times. Okay, Hema is ready to sleep. So Hema, I want you to give me one realization.
No, Mataji, I'm not ready to sleep. I'm just listening. Very interesting part about Bhishma Panchak. First time ever I heard. See towards it like this also. I was contemplating on that.
Yeah, so I guess we have to just go with the flow sometimes. Give me one realization.
In 1.2.30 we learn that everything is created by Lord and He is the cause of everything. So Bhagwan created by His energy, and there are 2 energies, Sat and Asat. Sat energy is temporary and Sat energy is eternal.
So which is the eternal energy?
Spiritual mode.
Spiritual. Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. So it was nice meeting you all in Vrindavan. It was so nice. Real pleasure. Thank you, Vishaka Mataji, for such a nice, wonderful association. Shall we stop for today, or any other questions? Okay, let's stop. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Vacha kalpa